What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have something interesting as Fox, ESPN analyst Chris Broussard and Fox analyst Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, they reference Olympic bronze medalist, former WBC American Heavyweight World Champion superstar boxer Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder to make an example, a bad example, a negative example when discussing NBA, National Basketball Association superstar Russell Westbrook. Okay? Russell Westbrook, if you don't know, he went from the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he went from that team to the Washington Wizards. Then he went from the Washington Wizards. Now he's on the Los Angeles Lakers. So, with that said, they use Deontay Wilder to make a bad example, negative example, out of how Russell Westbrook is playing. Okay? And to describe Russell Westbrook, he's the Deontay Wilder of basketball because he has no skills. He's not technically savvy. He's all heart with one punch. So they're saying that Russell Westbrook, he only has one gear. If you don't know Russell Westbrook, he's averaged a triple-double for the last 3 years. Russell Westbrook is a future surefire Hall of Famer, but he's yet to win the NBA National Basketball Association's championship. And he plays the game full speed ahead. He takes no breaks off. He only misses games if he's absolutely, truly injured. Okay? He gives the game everything he has. And because they reference that Russell Westbrook is skillless, no talent, all heart, and all gas. No in between. And because Russell Westbrook, that doesn't mesh well with others, they're saying that he's comparison to Deontay Wilder. And then they go on to say that they even don't want to, they think even less of Deontay Wilder because they even dislike to make this comparison with Deontay Wilder and Russell Westbrook because at least Russell Westbrook does have some type of skill set. Deontay Wilder has none. So let's just listen to what Chris Broussard and Fox and Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp had to say, shall we?
No, and look, I hesitate to make this comparison.
So you see, he says, I hesitate to make this comparison. Now watch why.
Because I don't think Deontay Wilder is like an all-time great heavyweight.
So Deontay Wilder is not an all-great heavyweight. So you should do your homework and you should do your research. Everything is not about skills. Legendary 8-division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny "Pac-Man" Pacquiao is not the most skilled boxer that ever graced the square circle, but he's a legend in the sport of boxing. He's an icon in the sport of boxing. Well, Manny Pacquiao is definitely not the most skilled guy. He was left-hand dominant, just like Deontay Wilder. They describe him as being right-hand dominant and only having the power in the right hand. Well, that was Manny Pacquiao. He was left-hand dominant the majority of his career. When he got with Freddie Roach did introduce him to a right hook and a slightly blinding right jab to, distract his opponents. Manny Pacquiao was all athletic ability, all power, and left-hand dominant. He was even more so left-hand dominant than Deontay Wilder was. Deontay Wilder started the sport of boxing at 21 and became an Olympic bronze medalist. Okay, so that in itself speaks volumes. Okay, Deontay Wilder is a 5-year world champion. He held the belts for 5 years. Deontay Wilder successfully defended his titles 10 times, one of only 6 fighters in the history of sport of boxing to do so. Deontay Wilder has knocked down and knocked out every opponent he's ever faced. He has the highest knockout ratio in the history of the sport of boxing, and yet they're saying he's not a heavyweight legend. No, he is a heavyweight legend, and he's for sure Hall of Famer.
Right? But Russ is kind of like the Deontay Wilder of the NBA. He's got that punch, right? And he's got that gaudy record, which Russ has the triple doubles. But
so he says he has that gaudy record, meaning he stat padded, okay? Russell Westbrook averaged a triple double, which is extremely hard to do. There's only one man other than Russell Westbrook to do so multiple times, and that's another Hall of Famer, surefire Hall of Famer, in Oscar Robertson, the Big O. Okay, it's the only other NBA player to do so. So he's saying Gordy, being that Deontay Wilder is a knockout artist, having all these knockouts, but he's not a skilled athlete. Listen.
At the end of the day, Wilder's got no fundamentals.
Deontay Wilder has no fundamentals. No, Deontay Wilder does have fundamentals. If you're comparing him to a Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather or Sugar Ray Leonard, no, he's not fundamentally sound as they are, but they don't have what he has either. Plain and simple, okay? Larry Bird can't jump as high as Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson couldn't jump as high as Michael Jordan, but they got the job done in a different way. So that means they weren't as athletic as Michael Jordan because they couldn't jump as high? No, they played the game and they got the job done with what they needed to get the job done.
And Russ really isn't fundamentally sound. Can't shoot.
Russell Westbrook is fundamentally sound. He shoots free throws very well. He shoots free throws just as good as LeBron James. They talk about the turnovers he averaged per year. Guess what? He and LeBron James are 1 and 2 in turnovers averaged a year. He handles the ball because he's the point guard. Russell Westbrook is fundamentally sound. Is he a shooter like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, Reggie Miller, and guys like that? No. But is he, the best jump shooter in the world? No. Michael Jordan was the best jump shooter in the world when he first started his career. Okay, now Russell Westbrook hasn't developed that game, and since then the game has turned into a three-point shooting game. But that doesn't mean Russell Westbrook is not skilled. Russell Westbrook is skilled, okay? Russell Westbrook is just not a three-point shooter. So that means NBA players of yesteryear, Michael Jordan era, aren't skilled because they can't shoot a three-point shot. A three-point shot just became the focal point of the sport of basketball in recent times, within the last 5 to 10 years, okay? So you're telling me that guys didn't shoot the three-pointers like they did yesteryear. They're not skilled basketball players because they can't shoot. Okay, Shaquille O'Neal wasn't a shooter like Hakeem Olajuwon. Does that mean Shaquille O'Neal is not a skilled basketball player because he relied on his size, his power, and his brute strength on the inside? No, Shaquille O'Neal, he had skills. Why? Because he couldn't shoot the mid-range like Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson and Patrick Ewing. That means he wasn't skilled as they. No, he may not have the same skill set that they have, but does that mean he is not skilled overall? No, that has nothing to do with it, okay? You're trying to compare his skills with somebody else. Yeah, they may have more skill set and more technically sound in those areas, but that don't mean that they're not skilled. So Deontay Wilder, is he going to display his jab and his skill set like Floyd Mayweather or Muhammad Ali? No, but he gets the job done. He lost to one man, which is considered the best heavyweight in this era, and that's Tyson Fury, okay, who beat Vladimir Klitschko, might I add, and he beat Vladimir Klitschko more handily and easily without a problem than he did Deontay Wilder. And Vladimir Klitschko is seen as one of the most skilled heavyweights in the sport of boxing history. He successfully held the belt for 10 years. He was on a 10-year reign. Tyson Fury fought Vladimir Klitschko and outclassed Vladimir Klitschko. He fought Deontay Wilder. Vladimir Klitschko never really laid a hand on Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder made Tyson Fury hit the deck twice. So that means he has some sort of skill, because you're talking about a guy with more technically sound skill set in Vladimir Klitschko that couldn't even lay a hand on Tyson Fury. Just keep that in mind.
Makes bad decisions with the basketball, doesn't understand time and score.
So now he's saying he's lost on the basketball court, okay? So he's referencing that Deontay Wilder is lost in the square circle. When you're making a comparison and you're saying that he doesn't understand time, he doesn't understand distance, he doesn't understand, the flow of the game, then you're saying Deontay Wilder doesn't understand the flow of the sport of boxing. You're perfectly incorrect, okay? Why? Because Deontay Wilder stopped a man in Chris Arreola with a jab. He stopped Chris Arreola with a jab, okay? This is the same Chris Arreola years later that fought the former unified heavyweight Mexican world champion superstar boxer Andy Ruiz Jr., who stopped Anthony Joshua, dropped him 4 times, and ultimately stopped him in the 7th round. And Andy Ruiz is seen as one of the more skilled, technically sound boxers in the sport of boxing. And guess what? Chris Arreola years later fought Andy Ruiz. after he's 40 years old, after Deontay Wilder stopped him with a jab. And guess what? He hurt Andy Ruiz multiple times, more so than Andy Ruiz ever visually hurt Chris Arreola. And he arguably could have fought to a draw in that fight. That's years later, okay? He fought one of the young, upcoming, supposedly tough fighters in Andy and Adam Kownacki. And guess what? He gave him what would some consider to be fight of the year. Now, he didn't get the nod, but they didn't stop him. They didn't knock him out. Deontay Wilder, he stopped Chris Arreola with a jab. So that means that it counts for something. He does have some skills, okay?
He's got heart, and we saw Wilder had heart against Fury.
So now he said, we see Wilder is all heart, no skill. He has heart like Deontay Wilder. Well, yes, that's what he showed displayed against Tyson Fury, but they need to educate themselves on the sport of boxing because, again, Vladimir Klitschko is on a 10-year reign, a surefire Hall of Famer at the time. Was dominating everybody, dominating the heavyweight division. Tyson Fury fought him as a young heavyweight, and Tyson Fury outclassed Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko, he dominated him. It wasn't even a close fight, similar to when Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo Alvarez. But Vladimir Klitschko couldn't compete with Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder, less skilled than Vladimir Klitschko, with just as much power, he was able to drop Tyson Fury 4 times. In their 3 outings, 4 times. That means he was putting hands, and he arguably knocked Tyson Fury out in the first fight in the 12th round, and he arguably knocked Tyson Fury out in the 3rd fight in the 4th round. Vladimir Klitschko was unable to do, unsuccessful in doing either one. So they need to educate themselves in the sport of boxing. So there you have it. It's amazing, right? So they don't educate themselves in the sport of boxing. They don't understand the history of the sport of boxing. And so they go and they make these examples, and they use these fighters as examples because the sport of boxing is not viewed as one of the 4 to top 7 major sports in the United States. And so they make bad examples like this, and they just make themselves look very uneducated when it comes to the sport of boxing. Educate yourself. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hi, my name is Heather Bahid Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.